Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Film Detective. Today I'm going to be talking about who I believe the mother of Sam and Tara Carpenter is. Before I do that, do me a favor and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And if you can, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below once you finish this video and let me know what you think. I'm assuming if you're watching this video right now, you've already seen Scream 5. And we know that Sam's big secret was that Billy Loomis is her father. Scream 6 is going to start shooting here this summer. And one of the big questions on everyone's mind is, who is Christina Carpenter? Who's Sam and Tara's mother? Well, I believe that Sam and Tara's mother is none other than Angelina Tyler. And here's why. So in the early version of Scream 3's script, Angelina was set to be a Ghostface killer, but she was also described as one of Sidney Prescott's former classmates at Woodsboro, who idolized her, but was also jealous of her fame and attention. So we have a direct link back to the original Scream in that description alone. She also, while being a classmate of Sid, could have been the person Billy Loomis was seen on the side that he happened to have a child with. On top of that, imagine if Angelina was aware of everything Billy and Stu were doing the entire time and was actually an accessory to it. Maybe she didn't don the Ghostface mask or make any of the phone calls, but she kind of knew what was going on, and her whole reason for keeping everything on the QT, as they say, was because she wanted to be Sidney's replacement. And she even makes those comments in Scream 3 in the bathroom scene where, she sees Sidney and she's overwhelmed. Her eyes get all big and she lights up and she goes, "I'm you. I mean, I was," right? And yes, she was talking about her role in the Stab movie, but that could have been a double entendre, right? Where she's, in her head, all she wanted to be back in high school was Sidney Prescott. She wanted to be Billy's girl. For obvious reasons, that didn't work out, as Billy's now dead, but she did bear his child. So we get into this situation here where there's a lot of layers. I think this would be a fantastic route for Radio Silence to go down, because maybe it's not to where Angelina is a killer, right? Because what would be her reason for wanting to kill her daughters? But they allude to in Scream 5 that Sam and Tara's mother's got drinking problems, right? She's the town drunk and she has to go to meetings and everything like that. Maybe all of this prior trauma that we're talking about is what led to her drinking, right? Maybe she had Sam and, left for Hollywood to try to build a career, and things didn't work out. She shacked up with Roman, which again didn't work out because he's gone. So, I just feel like there's so much that we could unpack if we made Angelina the killer. And then imagine the plot twist when there is the reveal, right, that Angelina was involved in the Scream 3 killings, the LA, Hollywood studio killings. Maybe she was, maybe she was in the theater class and she wasn't very popular like Sidney was, or something like that, and she was just somebody that, for however it happened, Billy ended up, seeing on the side. So yeah, maybe she had the drama background and she always aspired to be, a Hollywood actress, but she also was envious of Sidney, and then we go back to, we know that this was her first go at being an actress in Hollywood, because in that same scene where they're in the bathroom, she's explaining to Sidney why she has the Ghostface mask, because Sidney's kind of going like, "What are you doing?" She looks super suspicious. And she's like, "This may be my only memory of Hollywood." So was she saying like this was going to be a one and done thing, because she stated she had to sleep with Milton to get the acting role to begin with? or was it that she was being cautious? Like, we may get caught, me and Roman may get caught, we may get killed, right? If you look at the prior two movies and how that ended for the other four Ghostface killers, or was it like, well, we're gonna kill Sydney, and then once this is done, you know, I'm gonna start my life with Roman, because again, they were allegedly seeing each other. So I feel like there's a lot of openings that we can go down if this is the route that they decide to travel. Not only that, but it would make sense that her and Roman started dating because Billy was killed off in the first one, right? So if she was in on it, if she was helping him, whether it was getaway driver or, stashing knives or costumes for them, for Billy and Stu, the secret dies with her, right? And if she knew about Roman, maybe Billy slipped up late night when, he was visiting her or she was visiting him. Maybe he slipped up and said something, but the secret that he was the mastermind dies with her. But instead of Roman killing her off and having to get his hands dirty at that point in time, maybe he brought her in, right? And, love obviously blossomed in some crazy psychotic way, but that would make sense. That would make sense that he's like, well, I have aspirations to kill my half sister, and she already is in on it. She already knows what we're doing here. So instead of killing her, I'm gonna groom her to be my second Ghostface. I'm gonna have her be my Stu. So obviously it didn't work out in the way that the movie played out, in the sense of the reveals. But if you watch that movie closely, there's no way it's just one killer. So the name change, how do we address that? Well, Scream 3 did that for us. So we had that scene where Jennifer Jolie is being made fun of, that's her stage name, and that her actual name is Judy Jurgenstern. And maybe Tyler was Christina's maiden name when she left Woodsboro. Maybe she didn't take on the Carpenter last name until her and Tara's dad tied the knot. So, and we know at the time that this movie came out, there was no bigger star than Angelina Jolie. So she took on the Angelina name because it was, sexier than Christina. And nothing against anybody with the name Christina. I happen to think it's lovely. But I mean, that's an easy fix. That's not something that we run into hangups with. The other thing is, well, what happens to Tara's dad, in this time period? If we're going back, what happened to him? Where was he? Number one, Angelina or Christina, if they go this route, has shown that she is not someone who you could consider faithful, right? She had Tara's dad thinking that Sam was his daughter the entire time, and it happened to be Billy's, and she was going to go to the grave with it. It wasn't until Sam slipped up yelling at her mom, that she read her diary, that he even found out, and I think that they said that was like 12 or 13 years later. So that's one thing I think that they could really ground this movie even more in reality, is that unfortunately there are both men and women that do leave after a child is born. So maybe she had a breakdown, right? Maybe, her knowing the truth that, Billy was the biological father and Billy is dead. And, maybe she snapped and she was like, I got to get out of here. I got to do something else. I got to try my hand at acting, or I just got to get away, and left Sam to be raised by now what we know is Tara's dad. I think that would add so much depth and kind of, I don't want to say sadness, but like it would just kind of make you really hurt for a character that we haven't even seen being Tara's dad even more. So I think there's a lot of benefits to, if they did make Angelina Christina Carpenter. I think that would be, like as I said earlier, there's so many layers, and maybe in Scream 6, Ghostface motive is that they found out another Carpenter family secret, that Angelina was working with Roman, and she somehow got away and kind of concealed her whole Hollywood past like Maureen did, right? Nobody knew that Maureen Prescott was, Rena Reynolds, that, was a B-list or C-list actress, kind of working her way through Hollywood before she went back to Woodsboro. So maybe Angelina, or Christina, whatever you want to call her, was kind of following the same footsteps as Maureen. And she managed to kind of keep that hidden. So I don't know. I think that would be really interesting. I think there's a lot that they could do with sitting down in the writer's room if they go this route. Maybe it complicates things, but like I said, Scream 6 could be Ghostface is out to kill Tara, Sam, Christina, and their reason for doing so is because, well, Angelina, Christina, whatever you want to call her, was a part of killing somebody that was close to them in Scream 3. Maybe the killer's related to Cotton Weary. I don't know. There's a lot they can do. That's all I'm going to say about that. And think about it this way, just to build Sam's, mental anguish up even more. She finds out through a diary that her father is Billy Loomis. Imagine if she found out in Scream 6 that her mother was an accomplice to the killings in Scream 3. So basically, both her mother and her father are serial killers. That would be freaking awesome. Okay, now I'm done. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you think I'm onto something good or if you disagree with me completely. And if you do, let me know why. Maybe we can, debate each other tastefully and sway each other one way. Maybe I could get you on my side, or maybe you get me on yours, and I'll abandon this completely. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys listening. You guys have a great night.